How many of you did the reading today? You will need it for the upcoming test, and I highly suggest that you do this. Okay, moving on. Empiricism is a theory that knowledge comes from sensory experiences. John Locke was a very influential empiricist. Who can tell me about Locke's views? Yes, John, you always had something to say.
All knowledge comes from perception. Perception links the outside world with our mind. The way our mind works is it gains impressions from the outside world and later synthesizes them into ideas. The way that we get impressions is through reflection or sensation. Because sensation differs from a person to another, their versions of reality can be different.
So does that go against rationalist belief?
Yes, actually, rationalists are full of facile arguments because we are born with empty minds, or rather, blank slates.
Do you have anything else to say, John?
Actually, yes.
Well, actually, we don't have time for that. Now let us talk about Berkeley. Who can tell me about him? Yes, George.
Actually, I quite agree with John on this matter. However, I do have to say, these objects are not real on their own. The idea of absolute existence by mindless objects is poppycock. SCS percipi. To be is to be perceived. It is not possible for objects to exist because they only exist through God's perception and our own. It is God's Spirit who creates the ideas for our human minds to perceive. Upon idealism, our external world is produced and created only through our minds.
Very good. We'll have to go into Hume. He was another great empiricist. He lived in 18th century Scotland and disagreed with Berkeley's view of God. He thought that God was a mere figment of our imagination. On the other hand, he was a big fan of Locke. Like him, he thought senses lead to our impressions, which lead to our ideas. Without the senses, we can have no ideas. What could Hume have said to counter the rationalist's argument? Yes. David? Is it? Yes, I thought so.
A blind man can form no notion of colors, a deaf man of sounds. Restore either of them that sense in which he is deficient. By opening this new inlet for his sensation, you also open an inlet for his ideas.
Let us move on to John Stuart Mill. He lived in the 19th century. Mill defended radical empiricism in logic and mathematics, suggesting that basic principles of logic and mathematics are generalizations from experience rather than a priori. Mill argues in a system of logic that material objects and sensations exist independently of the senses. He believed the inductive method of arguing was especially advantageous for empirical philosophy. Who can tell me what Mill said about this? Yes, JS.
For those of you who believe that all our ideas come from experience, induction is the source of every general principle that we think we know. So induction is therefore on which deduction is based.
Bloody hell, your hair is falling out. You are thinking too hard.
My hair!
Good. Okay, well, I think we will wrap up now. It is time to go.
This is rubbish. I did not say this. Perception is every